As you probably figured out, we're starting a new unit on heredity, which is the study of how biological parents and their offspring have similar or different traits. And the statement of inquiry for this IB unit is the hereditary relationships between parents and offspring are a consequence of predictable genetic patterns. So this is how you can go ahead and set up your Cornell notes for this unit. Please make sure if you're doing these in Notability that they find their way into your life science folder, and you can even set up a subfolder for heredity. So if you want to pause this and get your notes set up, go ahead. So first thing we're going to talk about is DNA. And you have probably heard of DNA before. It stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. And these pictures show a little bit about what DNA looks like. It's called a double helix. It basically looks like a ladder that you twist. So it has these two sides, and they're connected by what are called nitrogen bases, which we'll talk more about that. So here is a video for you to watch. It's just a little clip from Jurassic Park, the original Jurassic Park, the first one, to introduce DNA. So go ahead and watch that. So DNA is the information that cells read to know what to do. DNA coils to form what are called chromosomes. And this DNA that coils into chromosomes, they're found in the nucleus of plant and animal cells. And they're made up of sugar, phosphate, and nitrogen bases. So this shows again what a DNA molecule would look like. So there are 4 different molecules called bases that make up the information in DNA. That's the information that makes each of us unique. It might determine the color of your hair. It might determine how tall a plant grows. It might determine the color of flower that's on a plant. And these nitrogen bases are adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. And you are not going to be tested on these nitrogen bases. I'm just sharing this information so you have an idea about the structure when we talk more about DNA. So these nitrogen bases are paired up, and these nitrogen bases, they connect these kind of the rungs of the ladder, the sugar phosphate backbones. So it's kind of interesting that these nitrogen bases can be in different orders along your strand of DNA, and that's what makes us different, is the order of these nitrogen bases. In adenine, they're always 2 connected, only pairs with thymine, and guanine only pairs with cytosine. So even though there are only 4 different combinations, they tell the nucleus to make different things. It's kind of like how we have 26 letters to make thousands and thousands of words. So here's some definitions for you to write down along with the information you just wrote for DNA. So to sum up what DNA is, it's the hereditary material that controls all activities in the cell's instruction manual. It's a molecule that looks like a twisted ladder. And the next word is chromosomes. Chromosomes are coiled up DNA in the cell's nucleus. So humans have 23 pairs of chromosomes, so a total of 46 chromosomes in each cell. So this shows a picture of the DNA coiling up and forming this chromosome. And chromosomes, when they're paired, they look kind of like an X. So you've maybe seen a picture that looks like that before. And then genes are a segment of DNA. So this section of DNA carries hereditary information, and it's located on a chromosome. So this gene that's made up of this section of DNA might be located maybe right here on a chromosome, or maybe it's located up a little bit further on the chromosome. Each gene would have information for a different trait. So now if you could add to your Cornell notes on the left side, I'm kind of helping you fill in the left side here. How are chromosomes and genes related to DNA? So in here, you've already got your definition of DNA, your definition of chromosomes, your definition of genes. Now we're going to focus a little more on how they're related to each other. So this just shows a picture. This would be a chromosome, and this would be, remember we said we have 23 pairs of chromosomes. This would be kind of the pair of chromosomes. And this chromosome would have many different genes located on it. So maybe this section of the chromosome is made up of a section of DNA that has information for one specific gene. So this section of the chromosome would be a certain gene. Another section of the chromosome would be another gene. Each of those genes would carry unique instructions that your cell could then follow. And this entire chromosome is made up of a long coiled strand of DNA. So basically, chromosomes are made up of genes, which are made up of DNA and found in the nucleus of each cell, at least in plant and animal cells. So how are chromosomes and genes related to DNA? Well, you have 23 pairs of chromosomes. Each of these are made of hundreds or even thousands of genes, and chromosomes and genes are both made up of the molecule called DNA. So again, showing the picture of DNA coiling up to form into chromosomes, and different sections of DNA make up a gene. So here is a video you can watch of a long strand of DNA coiling up to form a chromosome in the nucleus. Okay. And just a note, DNA needs to replicate or make a copy of itself before a cell can divide. And we'll be talking more about that tomorrow, so no need to write that down yet.